Well, thank you so very much for joining us. My name is Walisha Wilson Menifee. I'm the founder of New Life Second Chance Outreach, which I started after I got out of prison in 2012 to connect other individuals with criminal records, to connect with folks who see them as assets and not liabilities. And over the past 14 years, we've probably helped over 800 folks with felony records find employment, connect to landlords who are rent to them, eviction friendly properties, entrepreneurship opportunities. And what we do here, we work statewide with anybody who's impacted by an arrest, conviction, or incarceration. With getting those resources, we serve as a resource hub. We facilitate and launch events like this where we give folks information. We do entrepreneurship classes, job readiness workshops, voter education, just a wealth of things that we have grown into. And we're all led by volunteers. None of us are paid. Most of us spend our own money to run this nonprofit. So we hope you will appreciate the fact and the hard work that we go into to keep folks, my people, connected to the resources that will benefit them. Before we get into the actual presentation with Supply Line 360, if any of you are in Columbus, Georgia, this is our very last week that we will be doing our Georgia Reentry Awareness Month. For the past 10 years, we've requested from the governor to observe July's Reentry Awareness Month. And luckily, starting on the 25th, we will be in Columbus with tons of events, free events, meals, cash giveaways. We have a 100% criminal record friendly job fair. We have about 20 employers that are going to be there, people helping with rental assistance. We'll have an expungement information session, and Jessica, who's doing this event, will also be in Columbus next week as well to do an in-person session for folks who could not make it today, or if you just feel like you want to just get to know her and ask a little bit more questions about what she discussed today, she will also be there in person. We're going to be kicking it off by attending some tabling events in Oakland Park with a back to school giveaway. Sunday, if you're like me and you've been put out of church because you have a criminal record, yes, you heard that correct. I was put out of 3 churches because I had served time in prison. We will be worshiping with folks at Asbury UMC Sunday morning, treating 10 folks out to lunch either at Hibachi or Old Time Buffet. We're going to be Tuesday. Those of you, even if you're family members, elected officials, we're asking you to come out with us on that Tuesday for a reentry simulation. People think it's not hard getting out of prison, trying to navigate. You got to find a job. You got to do this. You got to go get bus passes. So we're going to give you firsthand experience with that in Columbus on Tuesday, the 28th. And then we're going to have some voter education, some free dinners, and then we're going to be ending that week with the job fair next Thursday. So I'll make sure I drop the link in the chat where you can register for those. Some of the deadlines are actually today for a lot of them, and the spaces are filling up. So please, 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 if you're in Columbus, Phoenix City, or in that area, please come out and enjoy that week with us. And again, we have tons of free events and cash giveaways. So without further ado, we're going to go ahead and introduce you to Jessica Gates of Supply 360. I know most of you are here to find information about the trucking, dispatching, warehousing. They also provide workforce development and certifications, as well as entrepreneurship opportunities. She's going to talk for about 30 minutes. She's going to have a presentation, and then we will open it up for Q&A. So if you have any questions that's pertaining to what she's discussing or what she's offering, feel free to raise your hand if you're on your phone or your computer, by going to where it says react, which would be a little heart. Raise your hand. And then, or if you have a question that you don't want to feel comfortable talking off, just drop it in the chat, and either Jessica or I or anybody else that's a workforce development person or has that experience online can drop that information to you. Lastly, you don't have to worry about trying to scramble to get everything that's dropped in the chat. When the recording comes out on YouTube, we'll make sure that we actually send you everything that was dropped in the chat. We try to make it easy for you. All righty, Jessica, thank you so much for joining us for our Lunch and Learn. I think one of the biggest things to do all the time when you're eating, at least to be able to get some education. You don't always have to do food at lunch. You can get some education. So we appreciate you for joining us and letting us know what your offerings are at Supply 360. So you have been given the ability to share your screen. So whatever you want to do, you can go ahead and do that.
Cool beans. Good afternoon, everybody. Thank you for your time and having your spending your lunch with me. So before I share my screen and I start the presentation, I'd like to introduce myself. So I'm Jessica Gates. I've been an entrepreneur for literally half my life. 36. I started running my business at 18. I got into trucking about 2 years ago. Right now, I sit on the board for AAWTA, the African American Trucking Women Association. We currently have over 7,000 members, male and female, and we work with a lot of people who are coming from the same backgrounds, reentry, second chancers, as we all know it. So I'm well versed in teaching you how to be able to start a trucking business, the proper ways to be able to do it. And if that's not your calling, how to be able to navigate and get hired for a business regardless of your record. So, and I like to have interactive classes, conversations. So feel free to unmute yourself and say hello, stop me. We can just keep going, okay? Everybody nod your head or something because you're muted. Okay, Carl, Tony, Mr. Charles. Okay, cool beans. I want to make sure we're on the same page. Cool. All right. I like to feel the energy. So let's get this going. Uh-oh, wrong button. Right button. All right, can everybody still hear me?
Yeah.
Cool beans. So from the driver's seat to the owner seat. Um, as I said, I'm a business developer. I didn't tell you that. How I got into trucking is in business development. So my whole job, my whole career has been teaching people how to start their businesses and truthfully for pennies on the dollar. A lot of times we look at, hey, we want to go in and we want to go make some money, but we don't realize that our business plan and the credentials that we have attached to our business plan and our licenses is where that's where you'll be able to find your funding. And so it's my hope for you today for you to be able to see how many opportunities there are available for you, especially coming out of prison or coming out of whatever that you're going through from the reentry standpoint. There's so many different avenues that are available for you. So matter of fact, it's really the programs. So we start with the mindset change. What's the saying? Yesterday's news don't sell today's paper. So you have to change your mind from thinking from an employee to thinking about how an owner is thinking. So today, if you have the basic ideas, I want to get in warehousing, whether that means I want to work in warehousing, you want to start um, doing courier work back and forth with warehousing, you want to do dispatching, or whether or not you want to try 18 wheelers, intermodal, you were going to start with your thoughts. And I told everybody, write your thoughts out like you have $1 million check. I'm a woman of faith, so every thought that I do, I already go into it like God's going to cover it. And that's truthfully a really big thing when it comes to changing your mindset when it comes to this. And I'm speaking fast, so if I need to slow down, let me know. Okay, I'm from the South. Car, you all right over there? Okay. Um, but truthfully, like I said, that's what made the difference. That's what makes the difference into walking in these doors anyway. The 5 pillars of business, your vision. That's your plan. What do you want to do? Why do you want to do this? Your planning, your money, the systems, and your legacy. Trucking, this is what we'll cover. Why this industry is fit for a fresh start, the barriers, the rights, how you move through them, and your 90-day plan. So I hope at the end of this, we'll all be able to know what we're going to do for the next 90 days to be able to make a difference. So let's go over some statistics. Did you know 60% of formerly incarcerated people report being denied for a job because of their record?
I can
Okay,
attest
we
to
know
that.
that. We know that.
I can attest
And
to
we
that.
also know. one out of three U.S. adults has a criminal record on file. And there's over $1 billion invested into the trucking industry needed for drivers. So when we look at those statistics, it can sound like, dang, the cars are stacked up against me. But when we go back to our business plan, the reason of why we're doing it. So Carl, you're the box right in front of me. So I'm gonna pick on you for a little bit, and I'm going to use you as an example. Is that all right with you? Okay, so looking at this statistic, it can be like discouraging. So let's say that Carl, you came down to the office and you said, you know what, Jessica, I want to start a trucking business. I'm a single father or I'm married, I have children, my mom may be sick, I'm fresh out, I have nothing. What do I do? We're gonna put that on paper. And what you don't know is the tax dollars that you're already spending are already set aside to pay for programs for reentry programs. Then when you look at your plan and why you want to do this, let's say the single father. Do you know how many programs they have available when it comes to that? You want to look within your state and you want to look within your county. It's truthfully no better to it's no better time to have a second to have messed up in life because there's so many programs to push you forward. It's how you walk in the door. So I wanted to say this. So Carl, that's why I picked on you for 2 seconds. Okay, so work is your calling, not your punishment. As I told you, I'm a woman of faith, so you're gonna see some scriptures through this and through my presentation. God gave Adam the work for sin entered the pictures. Your labor has dignity. Your past does not erase that. I am I'm a recovering addict. So I'm also want to tell you, I live by everything that you see. How I was able to take myself from walking the streets, not having anything to owning my own home, getting my business and all of that. It was truthfully my mind frame. I could go over paperwork. I could tell you could file this, but what difference would it make if your mind and your why isn't there? Make sense, everybody? Mr. Charles, we on the same page?
I spent 43 years in prison for a crime that I didn't commit. I got out in 2019 at 60 years old, without a dime to my name and nowhere to go. And I had choices, guys. I knew everybody in the gang. And I had to make a decision. And I decided that that's not what I wanted to do. So I'm here because I think that you offer something that will help me pay the rent next month. And so that's why I'm here. But I do believe that you have to change your mindset. You have to change the way that you think. You have to change your surroundings. If you're around negative people and you're in a negative environment, you have to get out of that negative environment and you have to cut those negative friends off. You have to be around people that are going to inspire you, that are going to uplift you, and that are going to motivate you. Those are the people that you have to be around. And that's the mindset that you have to have in order to succeed.
Correct. And one, I want to tell you, thank you for sharing your story. And I am so sorry to hear that. That is unfortunate. But that was, if you don't mind, your story is the prime example of businesses or stories like yours are businesses that are successful in this measure. Because taking what you said, if you wrote that down, there are programs that are easily be able to fund you, the state and federal. So when we speak about trucking, you can look at it and say, hey, let me ask you this, do you have your CDLs?
Now, I just barely got a driver's license.
And that's okay. But just go with me for a second. Okay. So, with what you said, in the same way that I gave Mr. Carl an example, because one, we're going to say there's no overnight success. But if you wrote down, hey, I've been incarcerated for a crime I didn't commit, came out, I'm 60. What are my life choices? That's a program or there's a business plan that you can create around that. And that's where it's going to be your entry point. There's no easy road, there's no quick route into trucking because trucking is expensive to get into. So the best way to do it is to paint the best picture so that way you can get the right dollar attached to you to fund it. If I'm just being completely honest.
Okay.
Because when you go into it from a, hey, I want to go to the FMCSA and I want to just sign up, get my whether that's from the broker standpoint of all of that, the paperwork is expensive. And on top of that, the surety bond is going to run you $7,500. And that's for a $75,000 bond. And so when people hear that, it's like, whoo, where do I get that from? So I tell everyone when you start with the plan, that figures out the way you're able to reroute yourself and figure out where the other avenues are because the traditional avenues aren't available. But I will tell you, hearing your story, and I've worked with people like yourself as well, are the best, are the ones that win, truthfully.
Okay.
Moving forward, I'll go to the next page. And I know we just did a little bit on the mindset, so I'm going to go past that, not to go beyond our time. And I don't mind sending this to everyone as well. As you see, I did a lot on that on mind frame. So pillar 2, the planning, define your offer. And so if you're looking at, what is everyone looking at? Mr. Carl, what entry point into trucking are you looking at? Dispatching, warehousing, traditional trucking, box trucking, courier? And everyone feel free to either say something in the chat or to call out what your, it's not just a conversation with Mr. Charles. I would like to know genuinely
Yeah, I
what are
think
your
he's muted.
areas.
Me, Mr. Charles, or Carl?
Anyone are able to jump in.
You, Carl.
I'm into like the box truck.
Okay. All right. I'm gonna go ahead and write that down. Car, box truck. Anybody else on the call want to jump in and participate? What area of trucking are you interested in?
I'm interested in dispatching.
Okay. Anyone else?
You muted, sir.
Mr. Tony?
He's talking, but he's muted. He has to unmute.
We can't hear you, Mr. Tony.
Okay, there we go.
Okay.
You hear me now?
I sure can.
Okay, I'm trying to get off into box trucking myself.
Cool beans, cool beans. So we got 2 box trucks and dispatching. That'll definitely be able to help me curve the call to understand who is who and what we're looking for. All right.
But I'm not limited. I'm not limited to just box truck. Cause I'm looking to just expand my operation, my business. But I would like to start right there since I don't have a CDL.
Do you already have your business license?
No, I haven't. I don't have them as we speak.
Cool beans. Okay, so we're gonna go over the best way to do that because what I'm getting ready to tell you, these easy steps will apply to everybody. So very first step into getting into this from an entrepreneurial standpoint, dispatching included, you want to write your plan out. That is where your money is before you even do your EIN, all of that. Everybody says do your EIN first. I have had better history in funding a business when I write my plan out because I know I can where to attach myself. After you go through that, you get your business license. Now you want to get your certifications. An uncertified business is a not fundable business. That means you are solely relying on the revenue you generate yourself. But because we're on this call from a reentry standpoint, we know that there are programs that you are aligned with, so you're going to need those. So let's say, what do those look like? The MBE, the Minority Business Enterprise. Working in trucking, that'll 100% make the difference in the type of contracts you get, especially with you, Mr. Charles, when it comes to dispatching. Everyone needs this information because let's say you have a slow month. These programs, once you have that certification attached to your license, it makes a different situation for government contracting, for businesses to be able to work with you. I have a contract with FedEx only because of the certifications attached to my business. And that's one of the things that I think that anything of the takeaway with that. Now, what does that look like? Now, they're expensive. They're 300 a piece. I don't know if anybody has had veteran status, if anyone has served in the military. That's one. The only other one is the woman. Now, if there's something you're interested in, what I'll do is I'll make sure I'll get the information over to New Life, where Walmart, Home Depot, Harbor Freight, FedEx, they're offering, especially in this quarter, reimbursement programs. And so for you can get your business license and they will pay for the certification or reimburse you. So that means you can go out and try to do business this year and you will have more success than we just sitting on the phone talking about business plans. Go get your business license with not the right stuff attached. Now you're not going to make any money. From Mr. Charles, your standpoint, you can have all the systems together, but if you don't have your back office together, well, what business is going to be able to, you see what I'm saying? How are they going to trust you to dispatch when it comes to their lanes? So you want to put those certifications because there's truthfully a safeguard to be able to protect your money and your sanity. When it comes to box trucks, box trucks is definitely a really good lane. Last year, I built a box truck company, and I also did two medical courier services. Passenger vans also as well. When it comes to, and I'm looking at the time, when it comes to finances, in regards to revenue, oddly enough, box trucks did not make as much. It was truthfully the passenger van and the medical carrier. And so I like to give that information out because a lot of times we go with what we hear the most of. Oh, I know so and so doing it. And we think that may be the way to go. But in trucking, if you take trucking and make it transportation, that will open up so many doors for you. So, Mr. Charles, what does that look like? That looks like you would be able to do business with a Carl and a Tony, especially diversifying in the different areas, because dispatching is not just the 18-wheelers and things that we see down the road, but passenger vans, medical carrier, box trucks also need those services. So you would also, it would behoove you to hear this information as well. To solely speak about, and I have about 6 minutes left before we do a Q&A. To solely speak about dispatching, I would learn every system possible. What I will do, if that's all right with New Life, I don't mind getting with you privately and we can go over DOT so that way I can sign into DOT and I don't mind showing you how to work their platform. So that way you don't have to go pay for a subscription, but we can go through how to actually navigate. So when you start dispatching, you know where things are on different platforms. The worst thing in the world to do as a dispatcher is to not know how to navigate navigate platforms and to solely rely on platforms. And so from a dispatching standpoint, you almost have more work to do than the actual companies because you have to reach out to get the business, but your business comes from direct relationships. I stopped dispatching a year ago because you make more money from dedicated contracts, just truthfully the money within it. So when you look at a load board, you're fighting with everybody in the United States of America who got $99 to afford for that subscription to get a load. So oftentimes you'll go and get it and then it'll go away. So the relationship building, reaching out to people that's in your community who, hey, incarcerated brothers or sisters who have business, they'll be more inclined to be able to understand your story. That's where that business plan comes into play. The first thing that we do, because we're going to know what community do we automatically situate ourselves. We want to know who are we going to talk to once we have everything built up and ready, so that way we can get ready to go. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
What'd you say, Carl?
Yeah, he's muted
I
again.
said, yeah, I said, yes, most definitely it does.
Okay. When it comes to and these conversations, because these can really get really deep when we're speaking about numbers. When you're speaking about reentry, I don't think you're playing with anything. We've already spent years on life, so now we're trying to be able to run ahead. So what I would encourage you guys to do, if you don't have social media platforms. Let Facebook and Facebook groups be your friend. When I first started, that's how I got out there. And then I wound up being on the board, and all those accolades came after that. But it just started out just reaching out to people. The next thing that I would do is, and I also don't mind giving it out. I have spreadsheets full of brokers, different relationships. I can't use them all. I'm never going to use them all, but I have no problem with giving them to you and showing you how to be able to properly. How do we reach out to them? What's the profile? What are we sending them? If Tony called FedEx today because they posted a contract for a box truck, well, what is Tony going to present? Does Tony even know what they're going to ask of him? Is this the right time of the year for Tony to even do it? But what savings does Tony need to be able to get in? And those are all realistic conversations that I think people miss. I can tell you all the hooplas and, oh, this the money you're going to make. Or I'd rather tell you the money you're going to spend in the mind frame you need to have to plan. So that way it's a seamless thing. It runs effortless instead of just you're going to make a lot of money in trucking. Trucking is one of those things that if you don't love it, it's going to make you cry. So the plan will sustain you. And any questions before I move to the matter of fact, the startup costs and the funding sources to any questions before I go to this part? Okay. I would encourage, and what like I said, I'm going to send this over to everyone, and I'm going to also send some more literature places for I want you to look at. I would like for you guys to look at the SBA.gov website, and I also want you to look at Dun & Bradstreet. The reason why is because the day that you sign up, we want to start, the SBA.gov is going to give you everything that I'm telling you, is going to give it to you in long format. So when it comes to the MBE, the Minority Business Enterprise, it will directly let you know how you relate and align with it, and the different programs in which you fall up under, because there's several. And if you guys want to drop where you're located, whether it's where you are in Georgia, I can tell you which county and where to be able to go to be able to find where the money is. It's truthfully, but we're going to go back to the first step, which is the plan. Once we get that, then we go to that. But you want to sign up with Dun & Bradstreet because that's attached to your business credit. There are certain things that you want to do even without you doing anything, because you in so much of a way you want to get your whistle wet. Makes sense? But I tell anyone that's wanting to do business this year, look at the time of year that you're starting. If money is tight, I would recommend everyone to go look at the certification reimbursement programs, Walmart, FedEx. Yes. And I'll also send over information links so that way you can directly go and apply. The same way you spending an hour with me for a lunch and learn, that's the same amount of time that these companies are asking for you to spend with them. Some of them once a week, some of them twice a week. But at the end of the day, they're going to offer you a certification to attach to your license that will be the make or break of your funding. So that way you're not just looking at what loan can I get. Everybody got something they're not trying to pay back. We want to situate ourselves so we aren't in debt and we actually have legs to be able to grow and people can do business with us. The legal structure. Talked about the plan and going through getting your LLC and making sure your business liabilities are taken care of. If you don't have a CPA, I would completely suggest getting one. If you don't have an attorney, I would suggest getting one. And truthfully, and that's where it goes out to networking. A lot of them will do for free. I know I have an attorney. My attorney gives out he gives out free advice hours. I don't mind getting that information over so that way you guys will be able to handle that. Bookkeeping. Mr. Charles, this is going to be your bread and butter. And truthfully for everyone, because as a dispatcher, as you know, not only are you navigating loads, but you can also offer the bookkeeping services for businesses like Mr. Tony and Mr. Carl and what they're doing. So for you to be well versed in the systems that are coming out, ClickUp, that's a system that I swear by. It's a project management system. They integrate with almost everything. I would encourage you to look them up on YouTube, get you some demos, and get familiar with that. I will also encourage you to look up different systems in which you see yourself managing, because let's say you got started today, that's where you would run your business. That's your store, if you will. Insurance and compliance, that's going to be your biggest deal, your biggest bill. So when it comes to Mr. Tony, Mr. Carl, when it comes to your plan, and I don't mind even after this going over and looking at that plan and putting real numbers so that way you can say, hey, this is what I want to do, and I know what it's going to take me to be able to do it. Hey, if you don't already have an insurance quote, let's look at that. If you don't already have a truck, let's look at what those truck prices are going to look like. I'm still going to always recommend passenger vans and medical carrier, because I've seen in the proof in the pudding, they had killed revenue over the box trucking companies that I worked with. And that's just the proof in the pudding. When things got slow, especially when things got slow within the government and the country, medical
So
carrier.
how would I get involved in medical courier transport?
In what way? In regards to dispatching for a medical carrier service, or
Well,
actually having?
actually driving, to go to Grady Hospital to pick up whatever to take it to Piedmont Hospital,
Perfect. So the same conversation that I'm having with Mr. Tony and Mr. Carr and anyone else is listening, we're going to start with your plan, the certifications, now relationship building. So then now we have Charles Medical Carrier Service. So then we're going to get the one sheeter and we're going to go email their procurement office and we're going to apply to be a vendor. Once you do that, those relationships, mind you, you would have had your certification attached to your business.
When you
And
say certification, what type of certification would I need to go pick up some plasma and take it somewhere else?
so it's different certifications. And so to break that down, out the gate, so let's look at how can I the easiest way to explain it. So your business license has to have a certification attached to it for contracting and for non-traditional funding purposes. So when I mean that, I mean minority business enterprise. And the best way that I can explain that to you, that is to tell the United States that, hey, I, Charles, am a minority in the United States of America, and my business is ran by a minority. That's it. Disadvantaged business, DBE, that is operated by GDOT. My name is Charles. I'm a disadvantaged business owner. In short, that's the better way of saying, hi, I'm Charles. I'm a Black business owner. Do business with me. So they've changed the terminology, but you need it to get the contract. Because a lot of the contracts will say, I'll have $50,000 for a minority business owner. Well, Mr. Charles, they're not going to look at your birth certificate to see that you're Black. They're going to look at that certification attached to your business license to be able to see that you fit into that minority category. So the true name of the game is the paperwork you apply for.
Okay.
Once you apply and you have your profile together, getting contracts is easy. It's as easy as the conversation we're having now. But you minimize the liability for the person on the other side by the certifications you have attached to yourself. Now, from a medical carrier stuff, other than HIPAA, and it just depends on what you're transporting, because you can transport medical equipment like wheelchairs and the potties and things like that, and not have to deal with pathogens and things like that. But the more risk that you're taking on, the more things you would have to add to yourself to be able to remain compliant to be able to do. Now, is it financially worth it? Absolutely. But I would be remiss to not tell you that.
Okay, I worked at Emory Hospital for a few years till I made the mistake of telling one of my coworkers that I had been to prison. And I never saw medical transport. So how does that work?
So medical transport works in different ways, and really why I love it is because oftentimes people think about hospitals, but you have hospitals, you have clinics, you have caregiving. So you have a lot of people, like before my grandmother passed, we were fortunate enough to be able to have a lot of her, like her equipment was driven here. Her caregivers came here. So there was a company that went to the store, that picked up the equipment and brought it to my house. So that would be a more alongside of things that you would do. So I wouldn't limit myself to just necessarily thinking hospitals. If there are 10 hospitals in Atlanta, just rough numbers, there are 100 clinics and medical offices for you to be able to work with. Then you want to also think about the stores that actually carry the equipment. So those are different categories of people to work with within the same medical courier service. In the same 12 to 15 passenger van that will take you to do that, I'm just showing you how you be able to generate income from each and every one of them. So then let's say, all right, well, I don't have any business that day. Or let's say you want to section off your time from a medical courier service. And let's just say that we're still, because you would use a passenger van to do it. So let's say you put the seats in. So let's say Monday, Wednesday, Friday, you're working for the hospitals or the different other offices, medical office like that. That leaves you Tuesday to Thursday to people who have to get around. One of the companies that has a contract now with the city of Atlanta is Transdev. And if you want to look them up, I truthfully encourage you to look them up. So that way, from a profile standpoint, don't just take my word on it. You'll see exactly how they got their contract. One, they've been around for a while, but it's the certifications attached to their business, to their businesses. Is how they're able to operate. But what Transdev does is they'll pick up the elderly or people who are in need, and they'll take them to their appointments. Well, I want to say that's a county contract. They've had it for years. So that's something that you'll be able to do. It's 150.
Okay, there's something like that existing here. I live in Henry County. I live in Hampton,
Yeah.
Georgia.
Yeah.
Right around the corner from the Echo Park Speedway or whatever it used to be. So is that available here?
It is 100% available here. And what I want you to put you in the mind frame of, don't just look at the area that you live in. Look at, it's over 150 counties. I want to say it's 51 or 52 counties in Georgia. So you can apply to every county. Out of all of them, somebody will tell you yes. And depending on the number, I know you will go from Henry to where you need to go to service the contract. Then we want to also look at, and respectfully, and without any harm, but at your age range, you got it, because we're going to go back to that business plan.
Yeah,
and
I'm 67. Yeah.
Right, and the
I'm an old
community.
man. Oh, I'm
But
probably
but you're alive. But if we look at
barely.
you funny, the communities that you'll fit in, then those are CDL schools that you can work with. Those are other second chancers or young kids who are coming out of that are incarcerated, that are looking for work. Do you know that's a tax credit to hire a felon?
Wow,
All
I
the
didn't know that.
so yeah, you think they just hire fellas because they want to? No, they getting broke off in subsidies to do that. I'm gonna just tell the truth in case somebody didn't tell you the truth. And that same tax break and subsidy is applicable for you the moment you become an owner.
Jessica, we had one question. I know you can't see it because you're sharing.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yes.
But I know I want to first say before say that. Okay, somebody did respond. She said clicker, but somebody clarified that it was click up. And then I think that's what we got that. And then
I didn't even see this thing. I'm so sorry.
I know you can't see when you're sharing. So that's why I want to make sure.
Yes, it is click up. Yeah, thank you, Taranza. Click up. So click up, like I said, I swear by that. You can truthfully run your personal life and you can run your business on there. My clients, I put all of their information on there, truthfully, because that's how I'm able to keep track of everything. But they integrate with almost every platform. It just makes it easier to automate and keep going. Airtable is good, decent. Tiffany, you aren't wrong. I like them too. And so, yeah, like, so Mr. Charles, And if you don't mind going into the chat just to be able to make sure that you can write the names down, Mr. Tony, Mr. Carl, and it's the initials are TV. Look like you're driving in the truck, sir. So my apologies for not speaking to you as well. But if anyone wants to write those down just to be able to do some research, I would highly recommend that.
I'll be
Write
also
what
sending
down?
them in the follow-up email. So they'll get the slides from Jessica, the slides, everything that's dropped in the chat, as well as some additional trucking resources. I'll make sure I be sending that to y'all as soon as she sends me that and I get everything uploaded on YouTube.
Yes,
Okay,
and
what's your name speaking? The person that I can't see. Who is that speaking? Yeah, you. What's your name?
You're on mute, Walisha.
Walisha Wilson Menifee.
Because you talk like you know some things and stuff. So I'm just curious about who you are because you bring a lot to the table.
Okay, yeah, I'm the one that started the organization. I started this after I got out of prison to help other people with criminal records. And we don't say felon, inmate, prisoner, so we use the word person with a felony or person who's formerly incarcerated because we're people first. And I think once we see that we kind of encourage ourselves and see that other folks see it as well. But that's what I started this nonprofit for, usually my own money, and we have our volunteers. We all volunteer our time to make sure we connect with resources, connect with employers who will hire us. Who don't see us as liability, they see us as assets. I got a job that I work now as a 9 to 5. They recruited me because I had a criminal record.
That's deep.
That's what we do. So yeah, I know a lot of stuff because I've had to be there and use the same resources, So yeah, but I'm gonna go ahead and let it go on back to Jessica. But yeah, any questions y'all have?
Just real quickly, I have a book out, Diary of an Innocent Man, set up by the Detroit police, and I would love for you to purchase it. It's on Amazon right now.
Okay.
It
Well,
chronicles my 43 years in prison.
if you want to
okay.
put the link to your book in the chat, I have no problem with going in and
Somebody else asked me about a link, and like that, that was like Greek to me. And
Yeah.
I
Well,
talked
I
to
teach
somebody
classes
today,
on
and they
that
was telling
too.
me
I was about
about
to
a
say we
link.
got to get Mr. Charles
Well,
to
And
I
chat.
teach
Charles,
classes
that
on that too.
Charles,
I
that was
run 3
me.
businesses. Huh? What'd you say, Tiffany?
Oh, I'm sorry.
I'm on the call, Charles. So I talked to Charles today, told him about this call, and sent the link to your email. So you can go back to that email, copy it, and drop it right in the chat.
Copy it and drop it into the chat.
It's a lot of, I know.
And
It's
then
a
I'm
lot.
going to also, and Tiffany, nice to meet you as well. I love your necklace. I'm going to
Thank
also
you.
drop the AAWTA, the African American Truck Women Association. And although it says Women Association, we also have tons of men programs. The owner, she just started out just thinking about women in trucking, and that's then 3-4 years later, we have dual programs. These programs are for people who are interested in their CDO licenses. We have relationships with different CDO schools here, so that way you'll heavily discounted. If they're charging $10, they're going through us, they'll charge you $2. So it's things like that. Other
Jessica, can you
dispatching
pronounce
classes,
that again? What is it? The African American what?
AAWTA, but I'm going to drop it in the chat so that way
Oh, I'm
everybody
looking
has
for
it.
it on my end.
Oh, okay. And oh goodness, I don't know why I got tongue tied. CDO classes, different job readiness classes, a lot of the box truck, medical courier, passenger van, dispatching. Mr. Charles, we have a class that I want to say starts in 2 weeks that I think that you would be amazing for when it comes to dispatching. Amazing. And all of these classes are free for you to be able to join in and get all the information that you need. When I come to Columbus, I'm going to bring tons of paperwork, anything else anything that anyone needs. But I just want to make sure that I give out all the resources that I'm attached to. So if there's anything that I can help anybody with in different areas, because I see that everybody has different ideas, different areas in which they'll like to go into trucking. So I want to just make sure that I handle everyone's needs.
So I'm curious, like for the box truck guys, how would a guy that's broke as a joke that just came out of prison, came buy a ham sandwich, get a box truck?
What
Good question.
what you would do is you would have to start you would be working. And the next thing that I think that you would need to do is to start.
I think you just froze. I don't know if you know it. Yeah, she just froze. Was it just my screen or is that on everybody's screen?
Everybody's screen.
Okay.
Zoom. Yeah, my screen messed up.
Yeah.
She probably will come back. I've texted her, so she'll probably have to come back.